Welcome everyone to Wisdom Class TV series with the Purpose Doctor, Pst Wisdom Esegbue, all the way from Delta State University, Abraka, Delta State. This is another inspiring, educating and informative episode of Wisdom Class TV series. We promise to keep you informed while we educate you. So, it's no news that we have a global battle ravaging every aspect of our lives and threatening to steal our moments, our joy, and our livelihood from us. COVID-19 has become a lion roaring through the world at large, separating you and I from sitting so close. As you can see, our physical distancing is as paramount as our social distancing, and this pandemic has come to deny us of some merriment and exciting moments that we share. It has denied our jobs, our businesses are going down the drain, our religious organizations can't even meet to share a common fellowship under a roof as it was in the pre-COVID era. Indeed, it's a soul-sucking parasite that feeds on our misery. Don't go away, we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Wisdom Class TV series with the Purpose Doctor, Pst Wisdom Esegbue. I have two guests to deal with this topic with me, Counselor Dennis Agori. Dennis, you are welcome to this show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I have also with me Apostle Bethel Aberere. I hope I'm right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
One more time, you are welcome.
Thank you.
One more time, our topic is COVID-19, the ravaging lion. COVID-19 was the name given by the World Health Organization on February 11, 2020 for the disease caused by the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. It started in Wuhan, China in late 2019 and has since spread worldwide. COVID-19 is an acronym that stands for Coronavirus Disease of 2019. It has created fear, it has caused deaths, it has kept loved ones away from each other, it has crippled our businesses and left most countries in the world in absolute debt. No one has ever thought that this pandemic will linger for this long. But here we are, still fighting a battle we never bargained for. It's still Wisdom Plus TV series with me, the Purpose Doctor, Pst Wisdom Esegbue. Don't go away, we'll be right back after the break. Well, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We are still on the topic COVID-19, the ravaging lion. Is the thief that crawled into our lives in the middle of the night, threatening to take away all that makes us. So, over to our guest from the far left, the counselor.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on COVID-19?
COVID-19 is an irrefutable fact that is the invisible enemy that has come to stay with us. And then I think the world, we are doing well. We are trying our best to curtail it. But by and large, there have been some inconsistencies here and there. And this form the basis of our arguments, our debates, and then our moving forward. And chief among this is the misinformation and the information gap that exists between agencies that have been entrusted to handle this battle that we fight without guns. And it becomes a very critical issue. There are critical questions that need to be answered. And then as we know it, investigations are going on, and that underlines the fact that this pandemic is a unique one. So I think we'll get to know more even as we move forward.
Okay, thank you very much for that comment. But we are looking at a ravaging lion, and I'm looking at a situation where everything is shutting down. So over to Apostle. Now, what do you think? COVID-19, is it shutting down everything?
Okay, thank you very much. I like the caption, Ravaging Lion.
Okay.
You know, if you ever imagine a lion pouncing on its prey, in the jungle, you could see the veracity with which it devours the prey. So, linking it with why it is shutting down, or why I think it's because, if you look today, schools are not open, places of worship are not opened. When it started, even markets were shut down. The economies of great nations, were crippled. So it came from nowhere, from Wuhan, and it pounced on, our source of existence, if I use that word. So it was like a lion ravaging a prey. And like I said, if you could imagine, the presence of a lion alone in the jungle keeps every other animal in check and keeps them away. And so with COVID-19 out there, the government of every nation had no option than to come up with laws, rules to restrict our movement. Like a case in point, if you look at the economy, when goods and services, people don't move from point A to B, then the economy will not be driven. So in other words, economies were being shut down, and they threw so many nations into lack, severe lack. So it's true, it's shutting down everything.
Okay, thank you very much. You think it's shutting down, but at this time the economy is opening up again. So over to the Chancellor. What do you think? The lockdown measures, has it failed?
Well, I am not on the field to have the data to give empirical judgment, but from what we've seen so far, I would say it is 40-60. It has not really worked very well, but it was the best approach given the nature of the virus, because like the topic, it's a ravaging lion. When it came, when the lion is chasing, you see people run faster. You see the people before you even see the lion, and so you don't even know whether the lion is actually the one pursuing the people. So what do? As an African, you run and hide. So that was a lockdown. So we needed to lock down to understudy the virus. But now, knowing fully well that this lion will not go so easily, we needed to come out, and that was why we advocated against continuous lockdown, because we need an African reality, a solution that captures the African reality. We can't be copying the Western solution, and that was why we kicked against it. So to the extent that the government did not hear us on time, that aspect they failed. And there were things that needed to be done during the lockdown. They didn't achieve it. So the truth is, there was no lockdown per se. It was the economy that was on lockdown. The people were not really locked down, because you need the people to cooperate with the government for the lockdown to be effective. And I don't think we achieved that in Africa. And so it was the economy that was locked down, but not really the lockdown as we have it as an original idea.
Invariably, you are saying that it has failed. You agree with us that it has failed, because when you look at the response, as if it was wisdom, but that it was, the response is to me fear. But the way we are going to look at it now, over to our apostle, what do you think? What's the hope that COVID-19 will become history as against Ebola virus and Lassa fever?
Okay, thank you. Whatever has a beginning has an end.
Okay.
Nothing lasts forever. That's my opinion. A bit historical here. In 1918, just after the end of the Second World War, we had the influenza virus, caused by the H1N1 disease. And when it came, I would want to say, statistics we have, there says it killed about 500 million persons. That's about 1/3 of the Earth's populations at that time. Now, if you link it to this, I would want to say Ebola virus or Lassa fever is totally wiped out today. We still hear of cases here and there being reported, but though it's been minimized, it's been contained. So I want to say that with the rate at which research is going on, I trust that our health authorities will come out soonest with a vaccine, because as I speak today, there's no known vaccine, for now. But I am quite optimistic that a vaccine will be made available soonest to help reduce it to the barest minimum, like Lassa fever or Ebola virus.
Apostle, I am happy with your optimism. So let's hear the counselor. What do you think? What happens in the post-COVID era?
In the post-COVID era, these are the things I expect us to do. These are what I think that people who are able to really learn, these are what I expect them to do. First of all, the government. And they should look into that information gap between the governed and the leaders and the followers. They should try to close that gap. The human nature, we are very curious people. So when you don't give information, they look out for this information themselves. And so you see all sort of fake news. We are flying here and there when this whole thing started. And we needed to beg our leaders to come and even talk to us. You see, that's to tell you the insensitivity of the government towards those they are leading. And it looks like it's a deliberate attempt to keep the people from being informed. And when they react, we begin to tempt them that they are reacting ignorantly. Now, the truth is, people behave the way they behave based on how the level of information they have. And we've always said that character is not made in crisis. So we need to now start educating our people. Because the truth is, people cannot just change overnight. So we need to educate our people on how to behave, how to national values. We're talking about national values, and then of course how to handle situations like this. That's the first thing. Then the second thing again is agriculture, because we are still going to be having issues of food security. There's going to be a problem of food security, and so I think the message of the government on agriculture, this is the time we need it. I for one have not really been a supporter of this banning of foreign rice and the rest and all that. But when this COVID-19 came, I changed my mind. I said, wow, thank God that this campaign started before now. So we need more of that campaign. I think this is where the government can key into that mantra of agriculture. So I think we need to go into that. Then thirdly, the government needs to task different states to be self-sufficient, because oil, as my brother rightly said, is an issue because during the COVID-19 this period we saw how useless the oil could be, and so we don't pray another crisis may come up that would even make the oil to be irrelevant. Even before this COVID-19, the Western world are already looking for alternative source of energy, and so we don't really need to wait for crisis before we solve issues. Now and then, comment on a personal level, we don't need to assess what really matters. What really matters in our lives. First of all, we need to look at our expenditure schedule. What are the things that matter? Scale of preference. Because you don't really need to buy the things that you just want to buy. You now need to buy what is most paramount, because this is the time where spending wisely is of most importance at this time. Then another thing again, on the individual level, you now need to evaluate your source of income, because when this COVID-19 came, we had another language called essential service. It was then some people now knew that their services were not really essential. You see, so we were not asking ourselves, so what brings food to my table is not essential, but the other one is essential. It became an issue. And there were protests here and there that, well, there is no, you can't say that mine is not essential. But that's just argument. I think we really need to face the reality and then have multiple streams of income, because those that really thrived well, they had multiple streams of income. Is your business online? How do you survive this? So these are the things I think we should look at, because even though we don't pray for trouble, they come. So we call them the uncertain entities.
Thank you so much. I believe there are so much. Thank you so much. There are so much lessons to learn from the COVID epidemic. So over to you, Apostle. How do you think we can tackle the after effects of this pandemic?
Okay, thank you. Now, the effects, I want to say, is massive, because if you look out there, I want to let us know one thing, our viewers especially, that we must champion the cause of working against stigmatization. You know, people out there, some persons, you know, patients that have recovered. If you actually look at the recovery rates, according to the statistics of Nigerian Center for Disease Control, is quite impressive. So, someone who was initially infected, when he or she is discharged, a discharged patient cannot, you know, transfer the virus in any way. So we should get that. So we're going to be looking at the effect, negative effect of stigmatization out there in the public. You know, where people will be running away from those who, he was one or she was once a COVID-19 patient. So our society needs to be well informed, you know, so that these people can, you know, mix up freely in the society. And then also, with the wake of COVID-19, we just saw how weak our health system was. And then so the government needs to invest more in our health sector, you know, get equipment, you know, look into the welfare of health workers and ensure that they deliver their services, you know, in line with international best practices. Then also, businesses just need to, you know, think outside the box, you know, because during the lockdown, many persons who had businesses online were still, you know, working. So for me, technology is the future. So many businesses should go techie. I'm not trying to advertise for any tech company, but the truth is that COVID-19 has ushered us into a new phase of life entirely. You know, like someone said, the world may never be the same again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. One more time, we are going on a short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. You are still on to Wisdom Plus TV series with me, the Purpose Doctor, Pst Wisdom Esegbue. And the topic once again is COVID-19, the ravaging lion. We have two more guests on the set. Comrade Oroto Nelson. Nelson, you are welcome. Thank you for joining us. And Pastor Favor Ohene Goma.
Thank you very much.
God bless you for being part of this show. So, starting from the far left, what do you think? Is COVID-19 a curse or a blessing?
Yeah, thank you very much. I wouldn't want to be specific to say it's a curse or a blessing. But I believe as far as COVID-19 is concerned, it is an experience. As a world, as a country, we have actually seen how it has ravaged our economy, how it has had negative effects in our businesses, in our place of work, and in the market. One thing I know for sure is there is always a way things happen. God allows things to happen for a reason that may be mysterious to us, for a reason that may not be known to us. But I think so far so good, we have learned some lessons. It is a way of saying, like, there are some certain things that are not right that should be put rightly, because this is not the first time that the virus is ravaging the world or the country. We've had cases like Ebola before, but to some extent, the way the coronavirus actually dealt with our economy is far different from what we have experienced before. So I want to say there is a lesson for us to learn. I wouldn't want to say it is a curse or a blessing, but it's an experience and we ought to learn a lesson from it.
I would rather think it's both a curse and a blessing, because
so to say,
where economy is crumpled, it's a curse.
Okay.
But according to the word of God, say all things work together for good. And I believe that a lot of people have got some things turning up because of what COVID-19 has come along with. But let's talk to Pastor Favor.
Yes.
I believe you are a man of God. Now you are going to take two questions at a go. Can COVID-19 kill a Christian? And what do you think God is saying regarding COVID-19?
Well, COVID-19, yes, it can kill a Christian. The very simple thing we need to understand here is we have precautions that we need to take as a result of this global pandemic. The question of it can kill a Christian, definitely it can kill a Christian. It's like just asking the same question, if poverty can catch up with a Christian. The moment you don't keep up with the principles of the Bible or the Word of God, definitely you'll be poor. So it has nothing to do with if you are a Christian or not a Christian. All you need to do, we already know that there is a problem. We need to keep ourselves safe, and there are laid down precautions, there are laid down rules that we need to follow in order for us to get it started. So definitely, as a Christian, all you need to do, follow the rules so that you don't get yourself into any kind of problem.
So what do you think God is saying?
Well, what God is saying in this season is very simple. We need to rethink and reinvent ourselves. There is something new to learn from this whole situation. Let me go back to what is happening, since you have related it to what God is saying. For the last 2 months, as Christians, we've not been able to gather in our buildings. Now, if you go back to Acts chapter 2 from verse 42, you read the story of the early Christians where they gathered together. The Bible says they shared the doctrines. They were preaching to themselves, even in the temple, and went back from homes to homes, sharing, eating bread together, having everything in common. In the last 2 months, I know of some churches where church hold their services in their home fellowships, even in homes. So what God is trying to do is trying to take this fellowship back to the grassroots, because most of the people that come to church have fellowship in church and not fellowship with God. If you observe also very well in this season, one thing that has been so unique in this season is that you see families coming together, bonding together, fellowshipping together. And I think what God is saying to us now is there are times that will come, there are things that will happen tomorrow that we might not be able to control. All we need to do, we need to rethink and reinvent the way we do old things.
It's all right. Thank you so much. Talking about what God is saying, I think COVID-19 is an affliction, and God always says something in afflictions like this. I believe that afflictions are for us to learn lesson. Adversity is a school.
Okay.
So we should learn a lot of things from the effect of COVID-19. It's for us to learn. There are lessons to learn. So over to my far left, I still have a question for you. How do you think we can maintain proper hygiene and make it a lifestyle?
Yeah, thank you very much. The truth of the matter is this. There is a saying that practice makes perfect. That the more you do, or the more you do, determine the more you can do. Proper hygiene it's simple if you want to make it simple. Like, there are some points that were given that as far as this COVID-19 is concerned, you need to wash your hands regularly. You need to keep 2 meter distance away from the next person and all that. If you can actually keep all these rules and regulations, I think it is something that we have actually gone far to battle as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. So maintaining hygiene, just doing the simple thing, like you finish eating, you wash your hands properly with soap and all that. When you are in kind of feeling sweat, you take your bath, things like that. When you practice it, maintaining proper hygiene, it's already on the process, and the more you keep doing, determine the more you can do. So I think with all these little things, you can actually keep proper hygiene within yourself and even around your environment.
Thank you so much. I think COVID-19 should train us. We should just be part of our system, because you see a situation where you keep water outside the door, there's soap and sanitizer, and people will walk past it. You will not need to put a security man to remind somebody to wash your hands, because it's not part of our system. But with COVID-19, I believe that should change.
Yeah.
That should change. We should just make it part of us. Washing your hand and keep washing it. It must be part of us, even after the end of COVID-19. So, over to you, Pastor Favor. How do you think we should maintain faith over fear? Because earlier on, we talked about our responses. Is it fear or faith? How do you think we should maintain such responses?
Well, as Christians, we all know that the only currency we have in this kingdom is faith. My mentor will always say the devil controls us with fear and God controls us with faith. As Christians, in this period and time when this pandemic is ravaging almost every system, disrupting systems, businesses, economies are going down, I think we should maintain faith. And how do we get faith? We get faith from the Word of God. Mostly, Christians should find a way to study more, get to know what God is saying at a particular point in time. Faith is something we need as Christians. If faith comes through hearing, fear also comes by hearing. I think one of the speakers said something very unique. He said people were running at the advent of this pandemic, and they were running not knowing why they were running. People were taking cover, not even knowing why they were taking cover. Job said in the book of Job chapter 3 verse 25, he said, what I feared most have come upon me. We need to maintain an attitude of faith in this period, because it is only faith, knowing fully well that God says, I will not bring the disease of Egypt upon you. Definitely this whole thing will come and it will also pass, and we will not have this problem.
Thank you very much, Pastor. I want us to look at it in this perspective.
Okay.
Putting on your face mask,
Yes.
washing your hands, does it connote fear?
No.
Thank you.
No.
But we have some people that want to feel that if you are responding in this way, then you are afraid of
No,
COVID-19.
you are not afraid. You are only keeping to the precautions. These are laid down rules. For example, as a Christian, I don't need to sleep in a place where we have too much mosquitoes. Otherwise, I will be infected with malaria.
Thank you so much. Though COVID-19 is ravaging, but it is also important for us to know that it is not the end of the world. It has come to notify us of our shortcomings in every sector, as well as our personal lives, especially our hygiene and conduct in the society. So we need to learn from all our mistakes and make a positive change. This COVID era has opened our eyes to actualize ourselves. It is time to work on those business plans that you have procrastinated upon over the years. It's time to desist from those wrong things that you do when no one is watching. It's time to reignite your relationship with God. It is time to pay attention to your loved ones, your children, your spouse, and everyone else that matters. It is time to make every moment count. Most especially, it is time to pray. Thank you very much. I want to thank all our guests, the pastor, the counselor, the comrade, and all of you. Thank you for being with us. And over there in the audience, we are very grateful, and we want to thank you for joining us. One more time, it's Wisdom Class TV series with the Purpose Doctor, Pst Wisdom Esegbue. You can join us on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can watch us on YouTube on Wisdom Class TV. Thank you so much. God bless you.